for
Okay,
releasing
okay, wait,
lazy
wait, wait, wait,
unfinished
wait.
games.
Fun story time. I'm gonna go full screen for this. So, I might edit this out. I might put this in its own video. I don't know. But fun story time. I might leave it in this video. So going back, he was talking about Black Ops 3 being the last good Call of Duty game. When Black Ops 3 was out and moving like towards Black Ops 4, the big thing at the time was supply drops. You may remember this, you may not. If you've only played the recent Call of Duty games, you're not going to remember this. Let me briefly explain supply drops. Supply drops were a thing where it was essentially RNG or luck based, where you could spin a lottery machine or a slot machine and you might get something like a new weapon, or you might get something that's completely useless altogether. Think emblem, calling card, that kind of thing. There was other things in those games, like for example, attachment variants that would change the way attachments look. Now, this started in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. They implemented these and they were loved by the community. I think a lot of people missed that when they were implemented in the game. It breathed. What's the correct breath? What's the correct? How am I screwing this up so bad? They they exhaled fresh air into the breathed. Why does breathe sound so wrong? Anyway, they breathed fresh air into the Call of Duty community because it was something new and a different way to grind. And I always said this, one of the biggest things with RPGs, with Call of Duty, I mean, as a whole, is the RPG elements are what keep people playing. So back in Call of Duty 4, they added in levels, and then you could level up weapons, and then you could unlock attachments. And it was like leveling up an RPG character in a first-person shooter. So these loot boxes, they added these in. So when they added these loot boxes in, it breathed why is my camera all? Breathed a breath of fresh air into the community. Then they slowly became more egregious. And like, oh, why does my camera keep going so goddamn bright? Stay like that. Is it because I'm talking with my hands too much? Anyway, as Advanced Warfare went on, we started to get, my freaking camera is pissing me off. We started to get things like more weapon variants, and then weapons that you could only get through supply drops. Now this, in my opinion, is where things started to go off the deep end. And eventually in Black Ops 3, it would literally cost you like $1,000 to open up enough supply drops to actually get new weapons that they added into the game. So people started to get pissed off with it. And I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe it was in Black Ops 4 that they started to do this thing called Black Market Blackout. So that's when we had Blackout in the game, and there was these weapons that you could only get through supply drops, and they tried to make it better, but it was still egregious. The whole gambling in video games like came up, and people were really, really pissed at it. So a year later, Modern Warfare 2019 was coming out, and I got invited to a pre-event before the game came out. And like these events before games come out, they essentially, you go and you can play like all of the game. Like I was the first person, I think, outside of the studio to beat Modern Warfare 2019. We were playing in a big room and I finished it. No one else did. And I was like, holy crap. I got to see that ending cutscene before anyone else did. Anyway, we were at that event, and at this point, it hadn't been announced yet that we were getting battle passes or anything like that. So we were, it was the night before we actually went to play the game. They had like a dinner, and it was in this kind of like actually really small room. I don't think it was a big group of people at it. But I was there with, I can't even remember who I was with, and the developers came in, and normally the developers might come in for a brief minute to those kind of things. Almost fell off my chair. For a brief second to like kind of like explain to you, oh, this is what you're going to play tomorrow. This is what's going on. Thank you for being here. We're really excited to show you, blah, blah, blah. They came in and they're all on their phones, and it was really, really weird. It was like they were waiting to get the go ahead to say something big to us. Like you could kind of tell what was up in the air. And I think it was Pat Kelly came in and pulled out his phone, looked at it, stood there for a minute. And then he's like, okay, guys, I got something to say. And he like sits there in the room and he goes, supply drops are not going to be in Modern Warfare 2019. They're gone. There's going to be another system in there for microtransactions, that of course referring to the battle pass. And they're not going to be there. It's confirmed. You're allowed to say it. And I think Charlie Intel, the guy that runs Charlie Intel, was beside me. And he's like, I can tweet this out right now. Like, if I tweet this out right now, this isn't going to be a lie. And he's like, yeah, you can say it. Anyone in here can say it. That there is not going to be supply drops in Modern Warfare 2019. And there wasn't. And people were super, super excited about that. It was actually quite shocking. I did not think they were going to do that. But I think as it was like getting banned in other countries, they kind of stepped away from that. So anyway, in that room, supply drops get taken away. We don't know at this point what the new microtransaction system is going to be. So later we find out it's battle pass, blah, blah, blah. That is the start of like live service in Call of Duty, was like that moment in time. And I will always remember that, because normally they, don't make announcement like that. That's normally like an internal decision that we don't hear anything about. And then, on top of that, for them to be like, yeah, you can just say it right now. Like, you can just go on Twitter and be like, yeah, there's no supply drops. I remember that being absolutely insane. But that, I think, was a moment that was like a big switch up for Call of Duty as a whole and how the game is run. Anyway, let's go back to the video.